This episode of the Stickers and Scuffs podcast, featuring special guest Amanda Balson, is presented by our friends at JRS Auctions. Head to their Facebook and Instagram pages and preview all the great items up for bid in their next sale starting tomorrow. That's right, Thursday, November 23rd at 7 a.m., and the sale closes on Sunday the 26th at 1 p.m. And also see how you could even win a $500 gift card towards this sale.
There really is something for everyone at a JRS Auctions sale. From snow removal, farm and heavy equipment, to RVs, motorcycles, classic Corvettes, and muscle cars. Yeah. Restored and modded pickup trucks. Yeah. And even daily drivers. Oh, and not to mention the amazing lineup of garage and fan cave decor they have. Vintage gas pumps, signs, musical instruments. I mean, wow, there really is something for everyone.
But friends, we want to tell you about the featured item of this upcoming sale, a 1970 Ford Mustang owned by 3 Days Grace drummer Neil Sanderson. This beautiful automotive specimen features 351 cubic inches of Ford V8 excellence, a 4-speed manual transmission, and is wrapped in a black and beautiful fastback sport roof body. The winning bidder not only gets these signature and iconic Ford Mustang body side and head-on profiles and that legendary drivetrain, but a matching black Kramer electric guitar signed by all 4 members of the band. If that's still not enough, the winning bidder will also be supporting a great cause, as a portion of the proceeds from this car will go to Team 55 Suicide Awareness, a charity that's close to Neil's heart, based in his hometown of Peterborough, Ontario.
To register, go to www.JRSAuctions.com. And remember, check out the JRS Auctions social media to enter for a chance to win a $500 gift card towards the upcoming sale. Again, start your bidding bright and early. Yes, tomorrow, Thursday, November 23rd at 7 a.m. And the sale will wrap up at 1 p.m. on Sunday, November 26th. We want to thank Joel Robichaux and JRS Auctions for their continued support.
Hi, this is Mario Andretti, and you're tuned into Cam, Graydon, and the team at Stickers and Scuffs podcast. They're true Canadian racing fans.
Welcome back to the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. Cam K, Graydon Bun back with you, and JRS Auctions presents only the specialist of guests. So we definitely are excited to welcome back one of our longtime friends, Amanda Balson of the Hot Rods out at Sunset, of the Hot Rods formerly in Oscar, basically of OSS, of racing in all sorts of places. All sorts of places. Amanda, how have you been?
I have been pretty great, actually. Still riding the high of a great season. I know we didn't win the championship, but after the few years we had with the Hot Rod, having this year and getting that win and running up front every week and having a ton of fun and for the most part keeping the car in one piece. Everything's been really, really great. And we've already, plans for 2024 well underway. The the chassis actually is pretty much untouched. It's perfect. It was ready for Peterborough, and unfortunately I couldn't make the final race of the year just because of work. We can only do what we can do, right? But yeah, the car's down at GTA's shop right now. It's getting a new body put on it, and yeah, just everything's going really, really well.
And
that's kind of you touch. Sorry,
we're just so excited to talk. So clearly, we're both excited about this. So Amanda, but just to go back, you made a change last year. You went from a touring division to a home track division.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to have worked out for you. You got to work, obviously, racing week in and week out at Sunset Speedway. So that was a thrill for us. And you were able to get back to victory lane. How was that feeling to finally get back there? It seems like it's been a while. You had a couple of heat wins, but a feature win, it had been a while. So how was that feeling?
Yeah, that was a great feeling because that was my first hot rod win. I mean, we come so close so many times, and it was hard to wrap my head around even the few times in the other car that we'd finished so well, like a few second place or third or a handful of top fives, and just comparing that car to the car that I drive now, I don't even know how we even managed to make that happen. But returning to Sunset was definitely definitely fun for me. Like, I hadn't run full time there since 2004. It was the track where I started watching my dad when I was a young girl, and where I started in 98. And it was a great feeling. Sunset, the schedule worked out for me. The rules, I really liked what they were going to do with the rules. The promotional team at Sunset really stepped up their game this year. The crowds were fantastic. The whole vibe of Sunset this year really, really impressed me. It definitely contributed to the amount of fun that I had there, because even though the start of the year was like a little bit rough, it was a little bit rocky there. I was having mixed feelings about making the choice to go back there, but I pushed through. I'm not a quitter, never have been. And we pushed through a little bit of adversity there at the start of the year, and found victory lane, and it was just such a relief. It's not like I haven't been to victory lane many, many times, but to do it in the hot rod, to do it at Sunset in front of that massive crowd, and it was the first responders crowd, which was really cool. Just great feeling.
You sometimes kind of have to, I guess, maybe for lack of a better term, win some to lose some, but like 2022 was a pretty tough year. There was a lot bent metal and hurt feelings with lots of different racers, but it might make you appreciate the better times, and also for the mindset of not all wins mean crossing the finish line first place. You kind of have those goals where you see gains in things and you take that away, as opposed to, it doesn't necessarily mean that there was a great finish or like I say, a win or even an upfront finish. But when you have those bad days, you take the good out of it, and that kind of helps your mindset and also help your overall performance down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about that. I mean, a question that I get asked a lot is, what was your best win, your most memorable win? And, every win is memorable. Every time you cross the finish line first, that's just a huge accomplishment for any racer. I mean, anyone that's won a feature will tell you that, oh my goodness, there's no greater feeling than rolling out of four and seeing that flag and there's no one else in front of you. It's fabulous. It's all the feels. It's wonderful. But for me, some of the best times or the best races I've had are like top fives in really stacked late model fields when I didn't have a car that had any business being in the top five. Those were some of the most biggest accomplishments, some of the moments that myself and my team were so proud of what we did with what we had.
Yes.
I mean, I've been really fortunate to have, at least in each class that I've ever run in, I've had at least one season where I've had a car that was on the cutting edge, like to the rules, like best car. And when I had those years, I had lots of success, lots of checkered flags. So when you go, to some of those big races, the classic and things like that, and you have those good runs with those deep fields and equipment that is not as good as, is not as good as what you're racing. It's not always, the fans don't always know that. The people watching don't always know that. Generally, the people you're racing with usually know that. Everybody knows that. But sometimes the fans don't see that. And sometimes those second to fourth or fifth, even sixth place finishes are just as big as a win as crossing that line sometimes when you're back at the shop and you're talking about it, right? So yeah.
I think one of the highlights for me was obviously we finally got to meet this past year, which is hilarious that it took that long. But I will say that one of the things that we as race fans, before we started this podcast, I think Graydon and I both we were really ignorant to weekly racing. Really just didn't think much about it. Ignorant to the fact that we were, NASCAR, that's the stuff that you want to watch. That's the stuff that you want to follow.
That happens.
It does. I will credit Sunset Speedway for the stuff that they showed us this year, specifically myself, because I was there more often, but for Graydon, Sauble Speedway, Full Throttle, Delaware. Grassroots racing is some of the best racing I have ever seen. And we put NASCAR on this pedestal, F1, IndyCar, but there was a battle between you and Tyler Hahn where you race, I want to say it was like the entirety of the feature, side by side, switching back and forth on lanes, no contact. And that type of racing is not what we see on television. They don't show us that. They show us big wrecks and fighting and all that stuff. So we've realized the appreciation and the love for grassroots racing. What is it that you as a competitor want to say to people that maybe haven't looked at it? Because it isn't the big, shiny, special thing that these major series promote themselves to be.
I would honestly say, not no offense to NASCAR USA or NASCAR Canada or anything, nothing's more exciting than Saturday night racing under the lights. I mean, I've been to racing from everywhere from here right down to Florida and from California over to New Hampshire. I've been a race fan for a really long time. I've raced a lot of places. I've spectated at a lot of tracks and all over North America. And, like the kind of racing that we do, like APC late model racing, that's supreme. That's supreme racing. That's the best racing in the province right now. Like hands down, the best racing.
Yep. Those series got there by these series first. I mean, it all had to start from somewhere and be propagated into the big show. But it's you can't forget about the weekly racing and the Saturday night racing at the local short tracks, because one, that's fun for the whole family at a very cost effective rate. And that's something that I feel like in Ontario is being worked on, and they're doing a great job in giving as much of the fan experience as possible every week in an already shortened season compared to a lot of their U.S. counterparts further south. But it's a super fun thing to see and have these the supportive fans, and you build these legions of fans that are out there supporting you week to week, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I would also say to, to fans in Ontario, you do need to come out and, I mean, when you say the word grassroots, I mean, we have to kind of use that a little bit loosely. Grassroots, some of those APC teams have $200,000 budgets. That's not exactly backyardigans. You know what I mean? And then.
No, exactly.
And then also, when we think of NASCAR Pinties, that we also have to realize that is not a series that is very accessible to hardly any. You need, I don't even know what you need to run there. I'm not even sure that I would want to guess, but I would say that unless you have at least 200,000, you're probably not going anywhere in anything. Not for a whole year. And I'm probably light on that, but I don't know anymore. But that's not an accessible thing for majority of people. And hey, APC racing is not accessible to a majority of people. It's certainly not accessible to me.
Mhm.
It isn't. I don't have I don't have that budget. I know we just bought a Pro Late, but we'll get to that. But I personally, for what I want to spend on racing and what I can garner in sponsorship and through all that together, what my budget is, I don't have the budget to do that type of racing. So I think it's important for the fans to understand that like, you know, the best drivers aren't all at the highest levels. Like they are all strewn about all through. Like there are some people that race bone stocks even that, you know, like they're not going very fast. They're doing what they're doing, but it's the way they drive and the decision making that makes it an excellent race car driver. You know, just because you're not in a Pro Late or you're not, you know, in NASCAR Pinties, that doesn't mean that you can't wheel a car. You know, and I think that's probably the most important thing to the fans. Like you can watch guys that can really, really put on a show for you, and they're in $2,500 cars. It's fantastic.
And that's what we've found. I mean, we kind of, again, it's that ignorant side of being a fan where you're just like, well, this I only like this. Well, no, try it, because
race fans are loyal to a fault sometimes.
Loyal to
right?
a fault. And but same thing, like we were only like NASCAR Pinties, only NASCAR Xfinity, NASCAR trucks. But then you go and you see the mini stocks. I fell in love with the mini stock division at Sunset Speedway. Just balls to the wall, 3 wide, lap traffic, in and out, Doug Butler, Ty Seaboyer, men, women, all just week to week.
Crazy.
And it's fun. And that's what I think I missed the most, is that I was watching the Cup Series and I'm not having fun because it's not fun to watch. But as soon as we go to that track, I mean, I remember talking with Graydon about it. We're giddy. We're little kids going to the racetrack again because it's new. It's exciting. It's like seeing the hot rods go out there. Anytime I get to see whatever amazing project Nick Clark has come up with, whatever new and exciting car is out there, it is exciting. It's fun. And then Graydon gets to experience it at other tracks. He gets to be behind the wheel and see. So now all of a sudden, we're getting a whole different side to it. We're seeing what's worth investing some time in. And obviously we've mentioned it, like you've been involved in motorsports for quite a while. So how is the health right now? And I ask this question a lot to people because the reality is the costs are ridiculous everywhere. However, the fact that we were able to get 20 odd mini stocks every week at Sunset was phenomenal. But that's not what it's like everywhere. So in your mind, where are we at with the health of the sport?
I mean, the health of our sport is always directly related to the economy and how much extra money people have to spend, because that's what racing is. It's how much extra money do you have to spend, and you need a lot of it. So, I mean, something else a lot of people don't realize, that even if you're bringing a bone stock to the track, you're rich. You're rich. Because that means that you have a roof over your head, clothes on your back, food on your table, your family's looked after, and you have extra money to put gas in a truck, load up a race car on a trailer, go to the track, pay for your family to get in, put gas in the car, and go racing for basically nothing. It costs you. So even if you're going there and you're strapping on a helmet and you own a race car, like, you're rich. Now, I think the health of the bone stocks and the mini stocks is good because it's cheaper racing. I think there might be a few surprises with even like APC late model next year. I'm not, you hear things, it's silly season, you hear all sorts of rumors and such, and I can't confirm or deny really anything, but I think there'll be a few teams that will shy away from that series just because of the cost of it. I mean, we all know what's required to run up front in that series. And the days of the independent guy doing their own setups and building their own stuff, it's, those guys are not finishing in the top 5 anymore. ask Dale Shaw.
Yeah.
And Dale Shaw is probably, I would say, like him and Sean Chenoweth are probably like the two top independents. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And even, like Dale will tell you that APC racing is just out of reach. It's unaffordable. Even though, I'm sure it's too bad that no one would pay for him to do it because he's so good. Like they all show up to Sunset and he's up front in his stuff. So it's really cool to see that. I was actually pretty proud of, I wasn't at that race, but I did see the video of it or whatever. And I was pretty proud of Dale for that because it's an independent team, and that's a huge accomplishment.
Well, and they did first and they did first in the Hanley, and I believe Sam was third in that race too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So they did a first and a third, and you had an APC guy and Danny Benedict smushed in between them.
Yeah.
Like that in itself.
And where that program originates from. So you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's the kind of thing that I'm saying. Like that's with the exception of maybe the Shaw program but even talk to Sean Chenoweth, like he'll tell you the same thing. Like it's when he's finishing 12th or something, that's like a win because that's him doing it. They're doing their own stuff, right? So
it is remarkable how quickly things can change.
Yeah,
because
and the health of the hot rods are. It's so good right now, but what the scary part is that it's like everything repeats itself, right?
Yeah.
The hot rods are the new limited late models. We're only like 3 years from absolutely obliterating everything to do with limited late model racing in this province. When in 2005, I don't know if you guys remember back then, Lucas Oil WWS Series 2005, there was something like 60 limited late models across this province. And then, it got destroyed by built motors and tire rules. And now the hot rods, there's probably, I'd probably maybe say 40. Is there 40 across the province?
Yeah.
We don't all show up at any one time, but I know at the Classic, I think there was almost 30 last year or whatever. So let's say there's 40. But like, we're going to kill it if we don't get it under control. Motors under control, tires under control. If they don't get those things under control, we're just doing what racing always does. It's like punches yourself in the face. I've been around so long, I've seen all the different super late models and how, they started, there was one class and then there was two and then there was one. And then the All-Star series is now,
it's another one.
That's the APC series, and what happened there, and everything just repeats itself. And this hot rod thing, man, it's cool, it's affordable. Sunset's doing it the right way. Other than this built motor thing, which I hate because because crates are they're cheaper. No one can convince me. I've ran built motors for many years, so no one's going to convince me that a crate program is not the way to go for everyone because it is. And the sooner that we do that, it might protect the health of racing over the next 5 or 6 years, because I don't know what's going to happen with our economy. We're 1 or 2 years from, I think the news is saying 1 or 2 years from like $90 billion in mortgages being renewed at a rate that's twice what you have right now. So things like that will hurt everyone from drivers to fans, right? So I think we have to be cognizant of things like that, and we have to do what Sunset's doing, find creative ways, tire rules, things to put money back in the racers' pockets, so that you can afford to come the next week.
And let's plan ahead. Let's not wait until it's too late.
Let's not kill.
Yeah,
we've already watched. We've seen it. We've seen it. We saw it with All-Star. We saw limited late model racing is the most current thing that was just absolutely bludgeoned to death. We got away from it a few years ago because you could just see what was happening. The rule
Yeah.
changes, the this, and I mean, racers do it to themselves too. Like racers always want more, and then gets to the point where you blow your brains out, and then and then cars are unaffordable, right? Now all of a sudden, cars that were $15,000, fast forward 5 years, and now they're 60. Like what?
Yes. Yes, and
that's crazy.
We're hearing this. The Superstock program is, I guess, the latest one that's been, thought of as that is Superstocks for now. It was affordable, and now they're pricing out.
They're impacted.
Yeah, and this is the danger.
Yeah,
this is the biggest danger. You're not getting the partnerships, and that's the thing. I think partnership involvement went down, costs went up. Well, you kind of need the partnerships to help alleviate that, and that's just not where it is right now, and that's everywhere. If you're looking at Kyle Busch, can't get a primary partner for 36 races.
They got to split them up.
They got to split them up, right?
Got to split them up, yeah.
And that's the approach that it has to be taken. If you can't get one race partnership, then get two, split it. I mean, it's not something. It's more work, but guess what? You're going to have to put it in if you want it to last.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes you can even attract, partners, like where, you're filling the car full of stuff because you don't want to scare people away by saying, oh, I need this amount of money. And then you get multiple different people paying just a little bit. And then everyone's kind of involved at a reasonable level and keeps everyone going, keeps everyone having a good time. I mean, racing, like you just have to look at the economy outside of racing to understand what's happening inside of racing. The middle class, super stocks, limited late models, they're disappearing. We have people that can afford bone stocks and mini stocks, which is what in our economy in the world is like the lower class, like it's lower class. And then you have super late models, APC racing, which is essentially the 1%. The rich, the people that can afford $100,000 budgets. The middle class is shrinking. These are the classes that are hurting. And what remains to be seen with APC if they have 25 to 30 car fields next year, I'm not so sure that they will. I don't know.
I mean, it's something that I've definitely heard as well. And it's I think we were late to the boat in terms of promoting. We stopped. I think there was some people at the time that did great jobs promoting, but people were late to social media. People were late to promoting. The reason that you got to be out there, you've got to do it for your partners. You got to give them some value. And like you said, taking a little bit instead of, I need this much. I mean, you take what you can get, because in this day and age, if you can get anything, that's a celebration. That's a miracle.
There's so many people out there that don't get anything there. Then they're racing 100% on their own dime. And that's, like I had to do that at one point too. And that's hard, really hard. But, what sucks too is that I started racing when I was 18, and then I bought my first car when I was 19. And I had like an $8 an hour job. Back then I was in school, and I managed to afford to race.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I lived at home with my mom, and, I don't come from a lot of family money or anything like that, but my mom would always have a little bit to help out or whatever else. But I don't see, and that was Thundercar. I started in Thundercar, and I bought a championship car. I bought Frank Davies' championship car for my first year. So what sucks is that when I look at young people now, I don't think you can do that, because if you're 19 years old, even if you're living at home and you want to go buy one of these top running super stocks, like if you're just a regular person like myself, or like 90% of us that love racing, do you have a spare 50 grand kicking around just for the car, and then the truck, the trailer, and then the $15,000 budget for the tires and the fuel and the everything else? That's not doable. It's just not the way it should be. It's not the way it should be. Tires being $1,200. It's not the way it should be. There's got to be a better way. Exactly. I'm waiting for this Cobra tires. I keep following along with what these guys are doing, and if they ever come out with a tire big enough for us to use. I keep
we'll be
seeing them on
checking Grand Bend because they're going to be racing Grand Bend. So
in the legend cars, right? I saw the
Uh,
test with the
I think
McNichols
they
with
did
the
it-
legend cars.
I think they also they were going to do a test with the late model tire as well. So that
Yeah, but I think it's a really small tire.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
think so.
narrow.
Yeah.
Like it's
So,
not going to
but
fly for even it won't fly for a hot rod or anything because it's too
no,
heavy.
no.
Yeah.
But it's a start. And I think that's what we need. You need to go and find new places. You need to find alternatives. That's the reality.
Yes.
I mean, to get these partnerships, you've got to be able to get people that'll be able to do something for you, right? And I mean, we could talk forever about the stuff that we'd like to see, but I want to just throw out something that I was so excited that you got to do this past year, and I wasn't even able to be there because I was ill. But you got to be back in the OSS at Peterborough Speedway, something I've been pushing for forever. And you got out there, finished sixth, and technically you helped Corey McAllister win his championship this year. That's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a cool night. I really hurt my back driving that car. I'd never been to a chiropractor before, and I have been like 8 times now since I drove that car. Nothing to do with the car, to do with me, and sometimes I'm really not picky when I'm getting in a car. You can ask GTA, my husband, anyone that's ever helped me put the seat in the car for me. I'm just like, yeah, we're good. I'll figure it out. It's fine. I just don't like to cause people work. I'll just, whatever. I adapt. I'm pretty adaptable. It's like when I go to a new track, whatever. I don't need to watch. I'll just do it. I'll figure it out. So, I think I got a little excited about going to Peterborough and racing the OSS car. I just kind of said, yeah, I'm good. And then when I went out for practice, I couldn't get full throttle. I was struggling a little bit to get what was happening is I was getting full throttle, but my hips were twisting in the seat. And at Peterborough, there's a lot of stress on the body to keep your head straight and keep your everything aligned, because there's a little more force at Peterborough, almost more than anywhere I've ever driven, actually. And I started getting really pain in my shoulders and my back. We had a couple long green runs. I had to do what I had to do for Corey, so I certainly wasn't going to pull off and quit. I really wanted to, because I remember coming on the radio at one point and seeing my back and my shoulder are on fire, but I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And at one point, I think I restarted on the outside, and I thought,
yep,
oh, suck it up, on the outside pole, and if they just suck it up and just wheel this bitch on the outside, you can do it. It's Peterborough, figure it out. Like, if we lose it, we'll catch it, and I just couldn't do it, man. I had fun, but boy, was it a lot of pain after that. But I was happy to help those guys. I was so thankful and very honored that Corey and Scotty and that team and Jenny asked me to drive the car for them. That was pretty awesome. That doesn't happen very often, right? So
it's cool to have.
They were so great. The series, Maurizio and those guys, they gave me a T-shirt and a hat. They were so welcoming.
I may have bragged about it, so I mean,
and I heard that I got a little trophy at their banquet for being.
Yes, you did, for a guest driver. So, yes.
I heard that Corey has that for me, and
you never get it.
That was pretty cool. I'm sure I will. So yeah,
it's cool to have like great friendships and great partners, and I love stories.
Here we go.
Especially in like Ontario and Canadian racing. Probably the most notable, I think, that would come to mind would be like Bill and Gail Zardo, that have just. They're like the gold standard of like kind of the racing couple kind of thing. But having a spouse that is a racer as well has to be kind of a good thing, where you can collaborate, but also I'm sure you have your differences of opinion on things as drivers. You're both drivers yourselves, but talk about Kelly and what he does for you and vice versa.
Kelly for the longest time has, like, he's my favorite race car driver. I don't mean to sound biased. I'm not a biased person, but like my husband's one of the best in the province, like hands down. He can drive anything. He's excellent. He hasn't always had the funds to drive the best equipment, and he's kicked some serious ass in things that, again, don't have any business being up front. Like we went in that super late model deal for a little bit there. Things weren't working out, and I can tell you this had nothing to do with him. Had nothing to do with him. He can wheel anything. Like he is super talented, and I'm the lucky one that gets to reap the benefits of that, because he's my spotter, and he has taught me and coached me more than anyone has. Really. I'm even still growing and learning as a person and as a driver, and that's really, like, it's because of him. He's and he's 11 years older than me. I don't know if you knew that. So he's older and wiser, but but yeah, no, he's for a lot of things we're on the same page. We don't have too much of a difference of opinion on most things. I mean, specifically racing things, I don't think we really differ on anything. I mean, all of our discussions about what to do with racing and what we're going to do and where we're going to go and how we're going to do it are family discussions. Like they're Kelly's dad and me and him. That's what we decide as a family, what we're going to do, what we can afford to do, what we have the time to do. So like it's pretty great. It's great to be on the same page as someone. It's great to have the same interests. Saves a lot of headache.
Yeah.
Having two cars is a lot sometimes. I think if you asked any other racer, okay, you race, how does your wife feel about this? Now times two. Like times everything by two. So if you had to buy 2 sets of tires that month, well, all of a sudden it's 4, right? So I mean, it can get expensive, but you know what? We love it. It's what we do. We work very hard to have what we have, and that's how we like to spend our money. So we're on the same page. So it's been an absolute it's been a blessing for sure.
That's really cool. And I mean, as someone, while we were away on our trip, Jessica and I have been together for 20 years now, and it's really cool to have that. I mean, she's the casual fan. She's here because of me in terms of the racing thing. But I mean, to have that ride or die that backs you in whatever you do, it's a great security knowing that in going into a race or what have you. And that's there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think he gets enough credit for being my husband sometimes, because being my husband can be tough. You can imagine, like,
so can being my wife too.
Like you can imagine, like, we've run up front for a lot of years in a lot of different cars for a long time, and not everyone, hardly anybody, really nobody's husband has to deal with what he has to deal with. And he handles it well. He handles it really well. I'm going to tell you a funny story. When I raced the OSS, I'm sorry, when he raced OSS, I had ran 1 year at Mosport the previous year. Kelly is a Mosport Pro Late Model champion.
Yeah.
We returned there in the OSS car, and they announced Kelly as Amanda Connolly's boyfriend. Yeah. So he has, that's kind of the things that he has to deal with, and let me tell you, he doesn't have a crazy big ego, and I'm not sure how many other people that are as competitive as he is, as good as he is, that run up front like he does, could handle something like that. And I mean, of course, can you imagine what some of the guys have said when I'm not around? Like, is your wife going to beat you? Put your wife in the car? Like Kelly has a bad race and somebody thinks they're being funny and says, well, maybe your wife should drive the car. Yeah. Ouch. I get that you're trying to be funny at the same time.
Yeah.
While insulting. You know, I kind of giggle. He giggles because I'll be the first one to say, like, I think he's far more talented than I am. He'll disagree. That's one thing we don't agree on. Just, no, you know, you're this, you're that, and but you know, no, he deals with a lot. He's dealt with a lot. I think everyone in Ontario racing knows that he has dealt with a lot when it comes to me, for sure.
Yeah, shout out to Kelly.
Yeah, shout out to Kelly. And
yeah, he gets like a big gold star. A heart.
You did good, kid.
Well, just like the racing love of the Balsons, we have the racing love of SNS and the two co-hosts back together again. What a great reunion it's been with Amanda Balson. But Amanda, we always want to give you the opportunity. We love having you on because there's always so much to talk about and such fun stuff. And now we're not chasing a phone falling over. We're not chasing any glitches or anything like that. But we do want to give you an opportunity to thank your partners, the people that get you to the racetrack each and every week, because they do a phenomenal job. The car looks amazing. Although I never know when it goes into GTA what it's going to come back, if it's going to look different for next year or if it's going to have a don't do that. I don't like when people tease me about paint schemes.
Listen, paint schemes? No, paint schemes. I can guarantee. Right here, I'm not getting away from this paint.
Okay, you got there the look. Go. It's
but
I love paint.
But what did she mean though when she said?
That's all I'm gonna do.
But that's not fair.
If you can't get that, then you need to look at some photos from the 70s, okay?
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
That's all I'm going to say.
But what we're going to go with is we're going to give you the opportunity to shout out all those amazing people. Obviously, going to throw it back first up to Mike Schmidt, obviously, because you're repping loud and proud LRR. So let's hear those amazing people.
Yeah. Did you know that Mike... I mean, he basically like has a huge hand in the design of the cars. Like, it's not me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he has free reign. He sends me things and he's like, "Dude, is this good?" But he's there with Cale. Cale Edworthy is the designer. Mm-hmm. But Mike has a huge hand in this. Like, I give him sort of like an idea and then just sort of like let them run with it, and they always like just knock it right out.
Yeah,
they do.
Blow my doors off every time.
And now Kelly's gonna have one this year too, so we're gonna be interested to see how that looks. So.
Yeah.
All right.
That'll be a pretty car. London Recreational Racing, Mike Schmidt, for sure. My number one. Rod and Barb Cochran at Cochran Automotive, Anastasia and David at Fix It Females, Melanie at Lux Beauty Boutique in Bowmanville, Andy Camrath, AM Exteriors, Frank and Dave at Quick Wick, Mercedes and David from Classic Towing, Graham Manis, GTA, Route 19, Ron at 90 Water, and the Hampton General Store, Raheem and Nazreen. Love them. Yeah.
And she's got it down.
Nailed it.
So we had the Sutcliffes on last week, and we said, you're going to quiz you. You're going to have to remember them. You have to remember the names of the partners. I said, you've got to get used to it because we've had drivers on this show that have forgotten the partner names. So definitely it's great that you always remember them. We always love a shout out to Fix It
Secret.
Oh,
Secret.
No.
I just outed myself. Listen, you got to be prepared because you forget
that's
something.
What I said. You got to make the notes. Make the notes.
Notes here.
Stickers and Stuffs obviously is proud to have.
I got my notes too.
Proud to have Amanda Balson once again. I think it's going to be season 3 of Amanda Balson repping the podcast in her racing season for 2024. You've got plans, you said. Are we going to hear those plans, or are they going to be under wraps for a couple more weeks?
I can tell you, we attended the drivers meeting, or Kelly attended the Sunset drivers meeting on Saturday. There were some good things mentioned there. I'm still waiting to hear about some rule changes. As for every year, because of my work, I work a lot of weekends. We've also bought a Pro Late model for Kelly, which will be predominantly run at Peterborough on my nights off. But as far as if I'm going to Sunset or Oscar, which are my only 2 options, I'm waiting for confirmation about rules, specifically tire rules. I'm waiting for maybe if there's going to be some breaks on crate engines or the future of built engines in either or of the series, and then the schedule, and whatever will work the best for me is what I will do. I had a blast at Sunset last year. I'm hoping I actually pick holidays at work in the next couple weeks here. So I'm hoping to shoot off an email to APC, Oscar, and Sunset in hopes that they can give me a little bit of a rough schedule so I can, plan my summer accordingly. And then I just have to wait for schedules to come out, look at everything. Obviously the prolate now will factor in on that, because what if they all conflict, and we'll have to work it out. Right. So those are the determining factors for us. But like I said, I had a blast at Sunset. I would love to go back there. I hope it works out. It's good for a number of reasons. But yeah, I don't know, APC might release a schedule that's a little more attractive than last year's schedule. I wasn't big on their schedule last year. I had too many conflicting work dates, so I couldn't make it work. So ultimately the decision was to go to Sunset, which I'm glad that I did. But yeah, just waiting for that. But I guarantee you, I will be the first to let you know when I have figured out what goes on. And that probably won't be until March when they release all the schedules. Right. So.
Right.
It's all about, look forward to it.
Yeah. It's all about balance and keeping it meaningful, manageable, and most of all fun. Thanks so much for joining us again, Amanda.
Thank you so much, guys. It was great to see you both.
That is Amanda Balson here on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast.